Astrology Throwdown tonight. Today, we threw some stones. I cannot wait to watch the video. Stay tuned for that so we can find out what amazing thing happened today. Every time you can see a whole story play out. Sometimes it's not that interesting a story, but it's still a story. So hopefully we'll find out what happened because this bracelet was so beautiful. I'm wearing one just like it. So I want you to see it. It's beautiful lavender. I just enjoy this stone so much. So I wanted to give it to someone. And what else have I been doing? I have been playing Let It Be on the guitar, thanks to how to play guitar and why. What a gift to the world is this audiobook. I never thought I could just play Let It Be. I can't believe it. And it was on one of Elvis's lists that he put up over the last few years. I think that was the songs that influenced him list. And towards the end was Let It Be. It made me cry today when I thought of it. And then I couldn't stop. Speaking of crying and couldn't stop, I've been also studying astrology while I'm trying to learn guitar. I want to get good. I know it's like there's a block and it'll come out when if my musical talent is coaxed out, I think it will appear. It's somewhere locked inside me. But it's starting to come out and really exciting. So can never recommend how to play guitar and why highly enough. It's achievement of our civilization as far as I'm concerned. I do think it could save the world. In my dreams, everybody would be listening to Elvis's raunchy stories. They're so funny. And then we find out about the sick things he used to watch on television. George Formby, who's so funny, so congenial, so talented. One day I did put this blast from the past that Elvis mentions on how to play guitar and why. I still can't remember that Bombellian, some word that he said his father called all these this dirty joke world that they live in England. It's so funny, but it is funny. Okay, so I mean, I will see this. When I was a child, I like when the cartoons are over, Benny Hill would come on, and I was like, "Oh, these horrible people!" Like, I thought English people were. I thought that was English people. It's funny. So it's burned in my mind that like Benny Hill is English people. So yeah, okay. It is a little bit of a different culture, and I did find it very shocking. Everything on Benny Hill was shocking to me too. So yeah, and then it's all over how to play guitar and why, but it's it's a lot funnier. I'm laughing too much. Anyway, so I've been going through this chart, and if you want to find out about the smutty things that Elvis used to watch on television when he was young, the ukulele dirty comic, George Formby, so funny, so talented. I should put him up more. He really is funny. Um, Anyway, I don't think anybody can follow what I'm talking about, but that is the greatest thing ever, and it still makes me laugh when I listen to it. So it is a great achievement to make something so educational, so funny, and he's teaching you about his his cultural influences. For example, that was so interesting, and we love Van Morrison and we love Elvis Costello and we love the Rolling Stones. You know, we love all of these great talents from England. But this is what influenced George Formby. And one of the greatest Van Morrison songs ever is Cleaning Windows. And that's George Formby with his little dirty jokes about I can't do it. You should see what I see cleaning windows and his little stick of black Blackpool rock. Anyway, I'm dropping it, but it is so funny, and I love hearing about what you guys enjoyed when you were young. I'd love to find out about what influenced you deeply as children because I was horrified by many of them, and I certainly just wanted nothing to do with it. I didn't think he was funny. I thought he was disgusting. I think that's anyway. So I found out something interesting since we're talking about the George Formby influence. I'm sure cleaning windows has something to do with George Formby. It has to, because it's so associated with George Formby. I hope I'm saying that right. And all right, enough with George Formby. I gotta drop that. Anyway, so I was trying to understand the synastry between me and George Ivan Van Morrison's chart because I'm just so fascinated by what's going on, how like we know each other through the internet, but we don't really know each other because the music business has blacklisted me. And I mean, this whole situation is so incredibly interesting. And, we really are influencing each other. I- as soon as Van Morrison was, uh, I felt, I hope I'm right, but the prophet speaks. I was like, what's going on there? That's interesting, And then three chords in the truth. I'm like, oh, interesting as well. I was really, what's going on? Because he's like, he's an idol of mine. And then latest record project, part one. I was waiting for part two, but this one's good too. I love the poster. It's perfect. Gorgeous art. I love the cover for What's It Gonna Take, George Ivan's last album. I mean, it is so sophisticated. It reminds me of Alfred Hitchcock, North by Northwest or something. It's so cool. Whoever that artist is should get credit because they did a great job on that. So I went through and I examined just what was going on in my chart and his chart relating to the planet Mars because George Ivan and I both have the fate of having Mars on our ascendant. So we're hotheads. We're really big hotheads. And mine is so like afflicted and abused and in the past. So I have like this abused child Mars on my ascendant because Mars can be abused. And it's in Aries, intercepted Aries. And George Ivan's is a little different because I really do have that past. I don't really see that in George Ivan's. I hope that's not the case for him. So many of us, it is actually the case. But what he has on the ascendant is this like super powerful Uranus, Mars, Moon, stellium on his ascendant. So I guess that's what we see with him. This unusual man. And I love seeing how unusual he is. That's to me, that's the real him, the eccentric, and he's going to do things his way, and he loves freedom, and he's not just going to go along with things. I love that about him, and that's Uranus energy on his ascendant. So you really see it. He's not just going to go along with things, and he's not just going to sell himself out. He's true to his emotions, the moon, and he has the anger and the will to stand up for things, and that's just why. Uh, I just hope we can all just honor him and let him know how special he is and how important he is to us. And I mean, as somebody who did just one day uh, take up the cape and cowl like Batman, I don't even know anything about Batman, but one day I said I'm going to go up against them, and that didn't happen. I was actually lured into it slowly. I would never have done that. As I've said many times, I agreed to do the hero's journey, and that I got pulled into this. I would never have imagined any of this. Of course, I didn't think that. But I do know how scary it's been to do this. So that I do know for sure. And anyone who has come to that place in their spiritual journey that they're ready to uh, stand up to the big bad, and that's a hero's journey kind of idea. The big bad is the real bad guy. And I started with a guru con man, and I didn't want to do anything like this, obviously. But that guru con man, I'm sure, is at the periphery of that banking empire. And I'm telling you, when I started to be guided to deal with that guru, I knew that was the edge of the spider web. I knew he was a part of it. And I was like, we're going to keep going and find out what's in the middle of the spider web. I had no idea. Okay. And then they just kept throwing their tricks at me, trying to pretend they were friends with me, or trying to trick me into reporting false stories, or whatever game, guilt trip, manipulation, bribe, threat, you name it. And then they pulled me to the middle of their web because they can't hide and attack me day and night. Not at all. And they've been attacking me day and night. And they have so much money. It's unbelievable the money they have. That's how you know it's a banking dynasty. You're fighting money. Okay? I'm fighting money. We're all fighting money. Take the money system from them now, please. Okay? Because that's what they are using to murder us and destroy our lives. Okay? They murdered my mother. Okay? And they've been actively doing everything they can to destroy the lives of some musicians that we adore. And they've been doing everything within their power to destroy my life. And I'm permanently quarantined as a thankfully healthy person. I'm the contagion right now. Do you see? They're flying around on their airplanes doing who knows what to children. And I'm quarantined, okay? Because we let them control money and the majority of our resources. So, back to the subject of Mars. See, Mars. That's my Mars. My Mars in the ascendant. I'm so incredibly angry. And if I'm blessed enough to be able to share that Mars energy with every man, woman, child, dog, duck, and plant, to be as angry as I am, because it's not just our lives, it's the future. It's the fate of the planet, the way they treat animals. Everything could be better. Slavery, this is horrible. Why do we let them do this? Take the money system from them. There is a way. Look within, please. Please look within. You will find the answers and you will find the way. Things are becoming very mystical lately. You will see numbers, you will get messages, things will pop up on your screens. It'll happen. This is a new age. I don't mean it like that. You know what I'm saying? But it is. We are in a new era. I really think the ascension is happening. And if we look within, we'll wake up and do our job and do it and you won't even believe it. Okay? I'm telling you, when I started doing this project, I was like, who is doing all this? That was not me. They help you. Okay? We have a shared destiny to take this planet back and be happy. We could have happy lives. We could have a culture. We could have commerce. We could have careers. Can you imagine careers? Careers outside of supporting criminal bankers. Wouldn't that be incredible? Because that's how it is now. There's a two-tier society. There's the people that help the bankers enslave and murder. And then there's the people like me who are quarantined perpetually because they have the money. That's why. Because their witchcraft is amazing, I guess, So, we cannot have the world run like this. Absolutely not. It needs to be transparent, honest, fair, caring, empathetic. Above all, transparent, okay? The people who run the Federal Reserve, who are they? What's going on over there? How come it's a big secret what's going on with the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor do they have a reserve, okay? It's the banking system is dishonest to that degree that even the name of the institution is a fraud. It's not federal. There's no reserve. Okay, so that's how much of a Ponzi scheme it is. And that's the banking system of the United States. Okay, irrefutable. So the whole financial system is a scam. And we are allowing that. And we could just change it. It requires cooperation, organization, and changing some things, okay? Changing what backs the money, okay? So we could have the same money backed in a different way through administrative changes. It's not that difficult to change banks. That's all you'd have to do is change banks, okay? And just back it differently because it's at the moment being backed by witchcraft, murder, slavery, that and violence. Okay, so the money is backed by something, crime. Anyway, so I found out today. I wrote everything out about George Ivan's Mars placement and how it related to me. And I found out something very interesting that both George Ivan and Elvis have their Marses square my moon, my very afflicted moon. My moon is it's square Saturn. Think of that, moon square Saturn. Feel the pain. Square Venus. That's very painful. So it's emotional and painful. And Astrology gives me an opposition on that for Pluto, but the other sites don't. So I kind of want to pretend that moon is not opposition Pluto because I guess the orb, it's a little off. The orb is a little wider on Astrology, so I'm toying with pretending that it's not not opposition Pluto. So I have like moon. Just think of that, moon opposition Pluto. How much I would not want to have that, but I do have it. I can't get out of it. I feel it. I'm in pain. So so that's the moon that I have. Okay. And that moon has a trine with the sun. So that's really good. And trine with Mercury. So it's a very communicative, emotional, afflicted moon. I think that's it. So what does that mean? What does this mean? I've been a wreck, okay? I've been a wreck. Everybody's seen it. I would never have done this stream had not Mars over there recommended it. But I'm glad I'm doing it. I would never in a million years have done this. Otherwise, if I hadn't been pushed by a Martian influence. That's the truth. But that's good. Anyway, so I looked and looked and looked to understand what does this mean? The Mars square moon, and it's in both those charts. What's going on here? Because Mars is all about power, initiative, masculinity, drive, will, putting yourself first, getting what you want. It's violence, it's power, fire. You know, that's Mars. Mars is a badass warrior. And the moon is, what is the moon? The moon is so powerful, but it's that like that person in the corner who's like running everything, but you don't even see them. You know? The moon like we're really being ruled by our emotions, I think. If you want to change something, you have to appeal to people's emotions. You can bribe them and do all this other stuff and it'll work too, but it's emotionally that people are driven. So the moon's so powerful, but then at the same time very soft and watery and feminine and elusive. So think of how those two would get along. The moon's just kind of zipping around the sky, just being silvery and enchanting, and then Mars is like, "Hey, you, come over here." So they don't really they don't really operate the same way. They're not think of it, the Mars wants to hang out with the other Marses so they can go do some sailing or something. Would they do sailing? Not really. To fireworks. Go do fireworks. That's more the Uranuses would do that. But anyway, they go light up some fireworks. Someone doesn't want to light up fireworks. I think I made my point. Okay, so let's just look a little bit more at what's going on with George Ivan in my chart. So you have to look at everything in George Ivan's chart from that ascendant. Uranus, Moon, Mars on the ascendant. That says it all. That's who you see because this chart of his, it's not making that many aspects. It's like a big stellium, and we talked about it in pretty good detail. Yeah, so we have moon square moon. So that sounds like me and George Ivan. Moon square moon. Who knows? What would that be? Get on each other's nerves, I think. But we won't. We're gonna find a way to get along somehow in this crazy world. I don't think this is gonna go on forever, where we're all gonna be trapped like this. What a nightmare! Oh my goodness! Please, my people, help me get out of this nightmare with this. They're they're treating me like a prisoner, and they're treating everybody like a prisoner, and they're the criminals, and we're the good guys. And we have to save each other. We have to really take a lot of initiative to save ourselves. Hmm. Yeah, so me and Van Marston have Mars trine Uranus. Okay, so we're both revolutionary. See, those go together much better, Uranus and Mars, because they want to go start some trouble, knock in some doors, knock over some tables. They're talking the same language. The moon doesn't want to do that, you know? The moon might go shopping with Venus or go do something creative together. Yeah, they're a little different. So anyway, the point is, it it's not to dread the negative aspects. It's to understand them, to understand that I'm so hypersensitive. I can't deal with certain things. Like I can't really watch violent movies, you know? I can't do things like that. I can't. And then Mars wants to go watch violent movies. But I can't watch violent one. I'm too sensitive. So it's something to be aware of. And then, why are you so sensitive? You can't watch violent movies. You know, it's like I can't watch them. They hurt me. You know, so it, all of these things. It's unfortunate that one person likes to watch violent movies and one person can't. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. That's a Mars, Moon kind of problem, and that it's frustrating because other people will go see violent movies, but the Moon one won't. And then it's like, "Well, that sucks," you know? So just be really aware. It can't help the moon person can't help being like that. It hurts them too much. It's too sensitive. But I'm seeing all that as an example because once you understand, like, we're different, we're relating in a different energy level in this way, and it's gonna hurt if we're not really aware, and that's what I feel the gift of astrology is the awareness. Like I was saying yesterday, I have Venus in Capricorn, um and I do have difficulty expressing feelings and emotions, and I'm very abused, so it's hard. It's really hard. But then if you're very aware of it, like, oh, it's hard for her to do that. We're all doing our best, and I just think this is such a great way to be more sensitive to each other because I treasure Elvis and George Ivan so much, and I want them to know I want to do everything to have a harmonious interaction with whatever it will be, even if it's just this, which boy, I hope we can get free. Because I fight for Elvis and George Ivan also very much so. I care about their freedom very much. And I care about my freedom as well. This is terrible. We shouldn't be as slaves of a banking dynasties doing these horrible things to children. Uh, anyway, we must look within and we must get with our guides and take our mission. We must. We have no choice. It's just unfor- it must be done because there are young people who can't stand up for themselves also. It's not just us. Heroism's the only way. It really is the only way. And the other thing is I'm talking about all of these difficult aspects that I have, which I think would have destroyed me by now if I hadn't been so like creative and productive. And even though I have my sanity has not been that great, I'm still here. And it's because I used all of that energy to either help people or to give or to teach or to do something really benevolent. And then you can endure the difficulty of the energies. I don't have an easy chart at all. So I feel I have to do these things. Maybe my life will become easier, but uh I've been guided to participate in basically PR wars since 2017. So I've been at war for 5 years constantly, and I haven't taken. I wouldn't even know how to take a day off. I do it constantly. So I've been fighting PR war for 5 years, and it's really changed me a lot. I can't believe it, and I know things now that I never would have known. So war, think about that. All of these difficult aspects in my chart. You're looking at a war. If you are familiar with my chart, I'm at war. My whole life, I'm at war, and Mars is on my sun. And everything's saying that I'm this, warrior. Anyway, so I'm just saying that's what happens when you have a lot of squares and you use it the way you're supposed to. You're supposed to be a warrior. And if you won't use the energies that are being given to you, such as they are, they're going to come out in toxic relationships and uh, mishaps at work. And just all these things are going to keep happening to you. And you're like, why does that always happen to me? And it's because the energies aren't being mastered. So that's what this is really about I want to see a whole world that's self-aware, that understands, oh, I'm not really good at that one thing. Let me compensate and be more sensitive to other people because I know I have this problem. Like I said, I can't express feelings that well. And I'm aware of it. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I need to, fix that. I have to do my best, even though I'm not going to be good at this one thing. As good at, like Elvis Costello, for example, has a Venus in Libra. Okay, so his Venus in Libra, he's so expressive of his beautiful feelings, and I'm like, how do you do that? It's this astrology is real. I can't believe it. It's totally real. It's just the thing is, you think like I would be the more expressive. I'm not. He is. How is that possible? So astrology, it's really interesting, and then you understand it's not your fault. Like his whole groupie thing, it's like it's in his chart. I don't know if that was his intention to have me see that it's in his chart, but we can be devoted in other ways. Hopefully, we'll try at least. So, but it is in his chart. I did see that. I thought that was really interesting, but it's in his chart, so it's kind of not his fault. You know what I'm saying? So it's something we should be aware of, and we just that's life. We got to figure things out. So this is a classic letter by Napoleon that I'm about to read. And Napoleon did not get a letter from Josephine for one day too many. And he wrote her like a really nasty letter about it. And it's just funny just to see like Napoleon like that. Just Napoleon. Just Napoleon being Napoleon. Great Empress, not a letter from you since your departure from Strasbourg. You've been to Baden, to Stuttgart, to Munich, without writing us one word. It is not very amiable, nor very tender. I am still at Brünn. The Russians have gone. I have made a truce. In a few days I shall see what I am going to be. Deign, from the height of your grandeur, to trouble yourself a little about your slaves. Napoleon. Anyway, I think you can see the sense of humor of Napoleon there. He was funny. He was super funny. And he was genius, obviously. So we're back to Elvis's incredible memoirs. And he was talking about how these pretentious guys in itchy maritime sweaters would sing these whaling songs and how little he enjoyed it. It's one thing I enjoy about England is the knits. Whenever I get anywhere near the English scene, I'm like, oh, check out the knits. Okay? That is one thing I do. I love it. And I like working with wool, but oh my goodness, the moths. I'm terrified of moths now because so much of my work is wool. It's terrible. But the English among us know about the pain of the wool and all that stuff. Anyway, I love the knits there. Anyway, so let's continue with Elvis and his feelings about whaling songs. I developed an unreasonable hatred of folk music. There were just one or two places that promised contemporary folk with the footnote, floor singers welcome. You could play a few songs for the honor and the experience. One such club sprang up a flight of narrow stairs above a clothes shop on Bold Street. I was waiting my turn to play when a lad with a vaguely dangerous demeanor called Terry, like in the song by Twinkle, got up and proceeded to play 3 startling songs in open tunings that put my trite little ditties to shame. You could learn a lot by watching and listening to how others held the spotlight. The former Great George Street Congregational Church on the edge of Chinatown had been turned into an arts center, but funds were so scant that the building was still in some state of disrepair. The exterior of the Victorian sandstone facade was so darkened by soot that it was known locally as the Blackie. When I played my first paying gig there in 1971, the seating in the basement amounted to a few mildewed mattresses thrown over stone steps on which the audience reclined. I played third on the bill to a folk trio called Halcyon and a local stalwart named Steve Hardacre, and got paid a handsome 50 pence for my pains. It was a start. My first patrons, Vinny and Jenny Finn, also ran a Friday night lamplight music evening at the Remploy Social Club in Wallasey over the Mersey. I'd sing a few songs and sometimes get a small cut of the door, but nobody was making any money. They were barely covering their costs. The regular host and the star of the evening was a hearty singer called Hal Crabtree, who played rousing songs on a big 11 dreadnought guitar. I wanted to be able to raise my voice like Hal and command people's attention, but always seemed to spend half my stage time tinkering with my guitar after disastrous experiment with open tunings. Or I'd thrash the damn thing so hard to lift my performance above the conversation, they'd start the song with 6 strings and end up with only 4 or less. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a very good evening.